Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing a portrait study from reference and showing my process for every step. I'll explain the proportions of the face and show how to use observation to accurately draw and place each of the features. I chose this reference because of the difficult angle, somewhere between a side profile view and a 3/4 view. So let's begin. I always begin with a circle to represent the general shape of the head. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect because this is just a guideline that will not be seen in the final drawing. Then draw the center line of the face and a line for the eyes. And then draw the shape of the jaw, being careful to observe my reference. This circle right here is just to help me kind of visualize the side plane of the face. And halfway from the front to the back of the head will be where the ear is placed. The top of the ear is generally at the eye line, and the bottom of the ear is generally at the bottom of the nose. So I drew it a little too high, so I'm just going to move it down to match the reference better. And especially at a difficult angle like this, I like to draw guidelines for the placement of the eyes. And notice that her right eye is going to be right at the edge of the face. For the bridge of the nose, I'll start where the center line and the eye line meet. And before I draw it, I'm going to make a dot for exactly where the tip is. Being careful to look at my reference and make sure it's in the right place in relation to the other features of the face. And then I'll draw in the bridge and the bottom curve of the nose. And I like to do a little circle for the tip of it. To help you understand the nose from this angle, I'm going to be drawing noses from a front view and a side view. This is the shape of a front view nose, kind of like a diamond with the top part being much longer than the bottom. So I'll draw in the same circle for the flat plane on the front, and the nostrils will look like this from the front. And then I'll lightly separate the bridge from the sides of the shape. And a nose from a complete side profile will generally have this shape. So you can kind of see the same diamond, but this time you're only seeing one side of it. And the same circle for the front. You're only going to see half of the circle this time. And I'll draw in the nostril there. So for the placement of this nostril, it's going to be very similar to the side view nose. And I'm being sure to observe the reference and make sure it's in the right place in relation to the corner of the nose and the tip of the nose. And now I'm going to lighten up the guidelines so that it will be easier to draw over them. For the placement of the lips, I'm looking at the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the chin on our reference. And it's going to be a little more than halfway between those landmarks. So this is just a guideline to show the height of the lips on the face. But before I draw the rest of the lips, I'm just going to move the noses away to give us more space. I'll draw the lips from a front view and a side view and show you how to construct them. This is the general shape of the center line of the lips from the front view. And for the top lip, I think about it in three kind of pieces, a little heart in the middle, and then 2 ovals. And the bottom will just be 2 larger ovals. So that's how I draw the shape of the lips from the front view. And just darkening the Cupid's bow at the top. So for the side view of the lips, we're mostly just going to be seeing only one of the 3 sections of the top, and maybe a little bit of the middle section, and just one section on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the Cupid's bow, paying attention to its placement in relation to the bottom of the nose. And also the placement of the corner of the mouth is very important. So be sure to look at the reference and compare it to where the other features are. For the top lip, we're going to mostly be seeing the right section and the full middle section, and then a little bit of the left third section of the top of the lips. And then on the bottom, we're going to mostly be seeing one side. One oval is going to make most of the shape, and just a little bit of that other oval on the other side because of this angle. And I just like to shade in the lips a little bit. Just going to clean up the shape of the chin. And it looks like the guidelines we made for the jaw were too blocky, so I'm going to cut into that a little bit. The eyes are the most expressive part of the face, but also the most difficult to draw. So I think it's important to understand the underlying structure. So we all have these big spheres for eyeballs in our face, but we only see a small portion of them. So I'm going to draw the big eyeball and the iris and the pupil. And our upper eyelid from the front will generally be shaped like this. Of course, it depends on the person, but this is the general shape I usually draw eyes in, making a little tear duct in the bottom lid. And some people have a visible eyelid fold on the top eyelid. Some people don't, but our reference does. So I'm going to draw that. And the fat pocket on the bottom of the eye. So from the side view, I'm going to draw the same big spherical eyeball that we all have. And this time you're only going to see half of the iris. And it's going to look a lot different from the side, almost like a triangle. And still we're going to see the upper eyelid fold and the fat on the bottom. So before I draw the eyes directly onto the face, I'm also going to show how to draw an eye at this specific angle. So the iris is going to be more over here. And I made it facing a little downward, so I'm just going to rotate it to match the reference. So I'm going to start at the tear duct. And notice how it kind of looks like the side profile view, but also it's kind of a mix of the side profile and the front view. Drawing the curve of the bottom lid. And I think if you're drawing eyes from a difficult angle, it can be very helpful to draw the structure, draw the eyeball, and then draw the skin on top of it so you can see what's going on. So we could honestly just drag this onto the face and I think it would match pretty well, but I want to show you how I place the eyes on the face, so we're also going to draw a new one. And it does match pretty well. So looking at the reference, we can see that the corner of her left eye is directly above the left corner of the lip. So this is going to make placement much easier. And I'm also looking in relation to the nostril where I'm going to place this. So I'm going to draw the same shape I demonstrated earlier, and always glancing back at the reference to make sure everything looks right. So because of the angle of the face, this next eye is going to be by far the most difficult part to draw. We can't see the inner corner because it's blocked by the bridge of the nose, and we can't see the outer corner either. So I'll just show you where the inner corner kind of would be if the bridge of the nose wasn't blocking it. I'll draw a little dot right there. And paying very close attention to the reference, I'm going to start with the shape of the upper lid and the lower lid, which we can barely see. And then thinking about the big sphere in the skull, drawing the curve of the iris. And the upper lid will actually curve around and kind of disappear behind the eyeball. And drawing the same upper eyelid fold. So I think that matches the reference pretty well. And I'm just going to clean up because it got a little muddy with all the small lines. And the eyebrows are going to be much simpler than the other facial features, but they do look different depending on the angle of the face, so I'll just quickly show them. This is the general shape of an eyebrow from the front view. It can definitely vary from person to person. And since most of the eyebrow is on the front plane of the face, when viewed from the side, it's going to be a lot shorter because you're not going to see as much of that front plane. A landmark I noticed on this reference for placement of the eyebrow, or the left eyebrow specifically, is it's going to start directly above the corner of the nose. So using that, I'm going to draw it onto the face. And also comparing it to the corner of the eye and looking back to our reference just to make sure it's perfect. So the right eyebrow kind of follows the curvature of the bridge of the nose as it meets the brow ridge. So I draw that in and it makes it much easier to place the eyebrow. And I'm just going to clean up the upper lid and how it meets the forehead. Always looking back at the reference. And I'm just going to adjust the guidelines for the forehead shape. None of this is permanent. You can always go back and change it if looking at the reference you see something is a little off. Drawing in the back of the head, the shape of the back of the neck, and looking at where the neck meets the jaw in our photo. So I noticed again that the chin was a little bit too blocky, so I'm going to redraw it, make it a little more angular and delicate. And now it matches the reference much better. Before I draw in the hair, I'm just going to erase more guidelines that won't be needed anymore. For the hair, as always, I'm going to be observing the reference and just quickly blocking in the general shape. This angle actually makes the ear quite easy to draw because it's directly facing us. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, just trying to replicate the reference as well as possible. I'm gonna continue drawing the hair, not trying to draw each individual strand, but making general shapes that it falls into. From now on, everything about the structure is final, and I'll just be making some small aesthetic changes, such as shading the bottom of the nose to define the bottom plane, and adding highlights to the eyes, and just generally cleaning everything up. This is where I'm going to leave it for today. If you enjoyed or learned something, please subscribe, you won't regret it, because this is my first video and quality will only go up from here. And also please comment any suggestions. I know I have lots to improve on in terms of production quality and narration. Thanks for watching.